Good evening, guys. I got Samantha Marie with me. Samantha, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Sammy, thank you for coming down here. If you don't mind me calling you Sammy.
That's perfect. All of my friends, that if you're my friend, you call me Sammy.
Awesome. Well,
So,
I thank you for coming on also. I know we talked for a few days before we were able to knock out the schedule, so I
yes,
appreciate it.
absolutely.
Right before we turned this on, you were saying that you're trying to buy your master's. I know that's a
I'm trying to
big
buy my
deal.
master's.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So, if you're an artist and if you're just getting started out and you're really excited about creating music, as I was 5 months ago when I was recording my first EP, you sign agreements. Sometimes you don't read through these lines. You've got a producer that says, hey, I can produce you for this amount of money if I can keep this percentage of your master. And sometimes that looks good to you when you don't understand how important a master is. So I signed producing contracts with this EP where these producers own a certain percentage of masters. And also, you know, as a young artist, if you write all of your own music, like I write all of my own music, melodies and lyrics as well, if you're bringing those into a studio and a producer says, well, I think we should change this one word around, you really need to rethink how you respond to that because that producer will then put themselves as a co-writer on your work that you spent, months or weeks or maybe even however long you spent writing this work. You've got a producer who's now putting their name on your words because you maybe changed something in between these lines. And so now the thing with the master is that, like, I just had one of my singles. I don't know. Oh, let me turn that off. I am sorry about that. I don't know, how much I can talk about this, but there's been a brand that's been asked to license one of my songs for 6 months for a commercial. And if it was just me, if I'm the only owner of the master, I'm saying 100%. You can definitely take my song as a small artist and use that for your commercial because I'm thinking of the exposure that it's going to get. Sure, it'd be nice to get a great fee from that company because they are a big company and they do have a lot of money. But at the same time, they've got thousands of other small artists that they can ask to have a song on. So if I am asking for a super high amount, they're not going to take me. So, anyways, long story short, when I presented this to the two other producers that worked on the song, they immediately said, well, we need to talk to our publishers and try and ask for more money. And that's just not how I work. If a company comes to me with a budget and says, I'm willing to work with them. And I thought to myself, I said, this sucks. This sucks that I can't talk to this company one on one because two other people that, it really is my song at the end of the day. Like of course they helped make it happen, but I just don't think these two people should have this much of a say on it. And I have also have record labels reaching out to me to distribute this song as well. And if I don't own that master, I can't say yes to that
Yeah, you
because
have no control. You have no control.
I have no control. And it's so I have a meeting with a lawyer on Wednesday about how much it's going to cost me to buy out my own masters. So for young artists, if anyone is listening to this, you know, I will tell you, you should pay top dollar from the get go of a song to start to own your own master. And you need to be clear with that with everyone that you work with that your end goal is to always own your own masters. I mean, we just saw this happen with Taylor Swift when
I
Scooter
was gonna
Braun
bring that up. I was gonna bring that up.
bought
Yeah.
her entire vault of music with her handwriting, her song lyrics, her album art, everything that she made. And she even offered to buy out her own masters with an immense amount of money. But we just see how quickly that this can get bad or
Yeah.
ugly.
And not only
There's
that,
just a
but
lot
you're the one pouring your soul out to make those words and that lyric and the beat and everything match together.
I'm the one that's the enthusiastic one about the song, right? Like I am the one that exactly, and that's what really gets me is that I have poured a lot into these songs. So
And then the
to have
corporation
someone
gets
stick around and
involved, and
say,
there's four people that have nothing to do with anything
right,
that weren't even they weren't
that
even a
weren't
part of the
even so.
process. Yeah,
So to have someone,
they're three removed from anything you've done.
so to
Ah,
have someone sit there and say, "Well, I think I want to send this to my publicist and ask for more money," it's like, well, come on, like you didn't even you didn't do that much. It's like it's this is this really is my work. And I just, it, and you know what? A lot of this is on me because when you go in this without knowing, you tend to make these mistakes. And if I have any advice, it is to own your own masters because you want to be able to do what you want with your work. So
Yeah, and you want it to
that's
go in
what's
the
going
direction
on
you
right
want it to
now.
go in the direction that you want it to go in.
Yeah, you want it to go in the direction that you want it to go. So if it's your work, you did it. You did all the album designs. That's your work. You don't want someone else's name. Now, song credits are different. You're always going to have song credits. You're always going to have people that you're collaborating with, which is great. I love the aspect of collaborating and creating with people. My music wouldn't be what it is if I didn't work with certain producers, but you know, you gotta have your own back. You do, because it's not all fun and games. It's a lot of these people are in it for some of the wrong reasons, money, whatever it may be, but
Yeah.
you gotta be in it for the right reasons.
I don't blame you, Samantha. I wish it was easier. I wish the world didn't have so many layers. It's frustrating. And the longer
Yeah.
you're in it, the more you see it too. I'm sure it's an outrageous process.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Absolutely.
And
It's
uh,
very crazy.
you see someone like Taylor Swift remaking it from scratch just so
Yes.
she doesn't
Yes.
even have to debate it anymore.
But you know what? And that was such a power move. That was almost just a screw you. And I really
Yeah.
like that she did that because I think if someone's a fan of hers, they're going to listen to her version now. So
Oh yeah, yeah. My daughter will not
uh,
listen to any version that's not
I know
hers.
I'm the same way. I'm the
Yeah.
same way. I'm 100%. So yeah, it's great. So I'm looking for a label right now that wants to sign me with full creative control because I mean, I do everything on my own right now. So
Well, with the technology that's out there, you do have a little bit of luxury to do some of that stuff and put it on
I
YouTube
know.
and
It's so great how much of a reach I've gotten just as an independent artist I mean, it's great. It's great.
yeah. So on that note, who has been the most influential person to affect you and making you want to do this and make the big jump to create? Because I know it takes a lot of courage to create music. I know it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out
Yes,
there.
it does. I'm just trying, there's a lot of influential artists out there. I think it's some of the experiences and I'll kind of get into it. I think because I didn't answer any of these questions beforehand. I kind of just wanted to be fresh, answer them in the moment. I think there's been a number of experiences that have shaped this. So, I mean, I grew up in theater, singing all my life. So, singing's always been a rock for me. When you grow up, I grew up in a very small town. It's a beach town, it's in Florida.
Okay.
So, when you're growing up in a town like this, it's can be a bit suffocating. Doing music was the least cool thing possible in this town. So I found myself in high school getting a boyfriend, doing everything opposite of music, but at night I would go home and I would lock myself in a room and sing for hours. And so I found this sort of it was almost a closet thing. So I no longer was doing theater anymore. I was really lying to myself for a long period of time. 2021, I drove my car out to Los Angeles. I had been visiting LA for a while, and finally I started to make friends. And I had graduated college in Florida. I was ready to go. I was ready to leave. And so when I came to LA, I did not know what the hell to do. I knew I loved music, but I didn't know. I didn't even it getting a good place to stay, finding a decent way to make a living in LA. It took me a year before I could say, okay, I have the money and time and the people and resources to be able to record music. And what really pushed me, what really pushed me was some of these experiences that I've had where I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And the way that that made me feel was so horrible inside. I mean, I've had situations where I've had people tell me, you're never going to be anything. You're always going to be this. You're always going to be that. You're always going to be someone who does this. And it was those people. I think it was those people that really influenced me to turn everything around and do what I wanted in life. Because no, I wasn't going to work for someone for the rest of my life. I wasn't going to be what everyone else was telling me that I was over my dead body. I thought I was
Yeah.
like, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to show these people that it's a reality. And I mean, literally, I mean, I've had people tell me, because I've also do TikTok. So
Yeah.
I have a TikTok live where I sing. I've had millions and millions and millions of, I mean, not millions, but that, I mean, just so I can't even count people that are commenting, telling me that I would never do something that now I can say that I've done. So I think it's those people. Because really, when you're saying, is there anyone influential who's made this happen? No, I don't think anyone could have pushed me about myself. I think the experiences of my life that I've had, I had to have them to really open my eyes and say, okay, I don't want to be working for someone for the rest of my life. I don't want to be working in an office for the rest of my life. I don't want to be working for a large corporation or
No.
doing something that I don't like for the rest of my life. So if I want to make that change, I better do it now. And those are the things that have
Yeah,
pushed me.
Samantha, do you know what the answer to those people was? That call to adventure, that willingness to go drive to California.
Yeah.
That action was the answer.
Oh, 100%.
Once you took that action, your life's trajectory changed forever.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
100%.
such a cool thing to see you
It
say
really
that.
is.
Yeah,
It is, because once I moved here, it was a spiral effect. I would meet one person that brought me to this person. I would meet one person who gave me this idea, and it was because LA really is full of creators alike, and
yeah.
that's what is, there's I can talk all day about the downsides of living in LA, but I can talk just as much about how great it is to have a community of people where we're all on the same page. We're all sort of working together.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you're going to focus on the negative, you'll find the negative. But
you'll find it. Yeah.
where your focus
100%.
is what you're
100%.
going to find.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
So it's almost irrelevant. Just like you were in that
Right.
little town and you were going to sing those songs. Just like when you're in LA, you're going to find those people, and it's actually kind of fun to watch your
Exactly.
creativity and the reality of your journey kind of evolve itself into what it's supposed to be.
100%.
Because you think it's
100%.
going to be this, and then all of a
Right.
sudden you're buying your master's back, which was not
Right.
the plan when you were in Florida at all.
Which was not the plan. It's very crazy.
Yeah.
It's very crazy what shifts. Um, so I mean, if I could just tell my younger self, it's to just do what you want to do. You don't, it just, who cares? I think for a while I used to say, okay, well, what if people think I'm weird or that my music sucks? Well, okay, allow yourself to suck, allow yourself to fail, because you are going to have those, you are going to do those things. If you do not allow yourself to fail, suck, try over and over again, you won't get to the place in your head that you really want to get to.
Yeah.
And the thought of being able to create music as a career is something that
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to
it's,
create anything.
yeah,
It's almost
to
like there's
create
a
any,
cup. There's almost like a cup inside of you, and you pour out your cup. And if you
right.
truly pour it out with sincerity and truth, it fills up twice as fast.
Oh my God, 100%.
And I'll be honest with you, I want to touch back on something you said earlier. You said something about I don't want to work for somebody else or die in a corporation where you slowly your
Right.
soul just dies. And
Right.
I heard a quote, and I love this quote. It's and I want to give the person credit, but I don't want to say um, people live in in quiet desperation,
Yes.
wishing they could get out there and be brave enough to take the journey, but they're so
Right.
worried about what other people say.
Right.
That what is the world missing? What do we have to wait a
Right.
whole nother generation for because you
Right.
didn't have the balls to go out there and do it?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And you know what? I've gotten to the point in my life now where I don't care if people like me or not. And I think that everyone else should have this mentality. You can't control what so and so thinks of you. But you know what? 5 minutes after they're thinking about you, they go right back to thinking about themselves. People are a little bit more selfish than we give them credit for. So really, what people think of me, I mean, is just not, it can't be a factor anymore, especially if I'm writing art, because the album that I'm producing now, I mean, I'm the only writer on it, and it's really raw. It's a lot. Lyrics hit home a lot more than anything I've ever done. So for me to say, okay, well, what do I think so and so is going to think about this lyric? I mean, forget it. This is my art. This is Forget what they think. It's
Yeah. Now I have a question. Do you feel naked sometimes when you're really pouring out that music? Does it almost
Yeah.
feel like that is you? That is not a baby of you, but that's
Yes.
actually you.
Yes,
I
there's a song there's a song, and there's like a phrase line of lyrics, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know it's so good, but I'm like, I don't even know if I can put this out there. It really is. It's it's just so naked, but that is where the best stuff lies. So
absolutely. Yeah.
that's where
A-
the best stuff lies.
and you benefit all of us when you do it.
Right, because someone out there will relate.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what's so great about music, is that as a listener or a creator, it's doing something for you. It's making your love feel more sacred. It's making your experiences feel heard. It's making this whatever emotion you're feeling just as much more powerful. And I think music having that ability is something I'm so grateful to be a part of.
Yeah. So when you were in high school doing all that drama and all that stuff, did you have any clue that you'd be in LA? Was that something that your heart's desire was from a jump?
I knew from a very young age that I would be doing something like this. And I actually remember when I was younger always talking about going to LA. So
Nice.
being able to revisit this was super special to me. I think I knew when I had rejected all sports that, I always have been a creator. So I think I knew I would be creating for the rest of my life. I would always be doing something where I'm given the opportunity to create.
Yeah. And yeah,
Um,
like TikTok and stuff. It's amazing
yeah,
how much fun. It's so much fun
so
because
great.
there's no limitation to what you can do, and
Nothing,
you have no
nothing.
idea what's gonna be trendy next week. And it could be
Right,
you. You
right.
just don't know.
Could be you. Yeah, it's great. Oh my God. Yeah, TikTok is actually, it's given me a pretty good platform to
Yeah.
build a fan base on. It's nothing like Instagram ever was, or even, I mean, YouTube's great. I do love YouTube, but like Spotify and TikTok have been my two really, really top things that have really helped me. I mean, the fact that I can just go on TikTok and sing on a live stream and see 3,000 people on it, that's crazy to
Yeah, yeah.
me.
That's like you're in a small
That's
field. It's like you're at a small park.
I'm like having a
Yeah.
concert right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy. It's crazy in my bedroom.
It is. It is.
And
It's so cool. It really is. This.
I think there's something special about that. I think it's great.
Yeah. And
So,
so what do you think? Do you think another thing like TikTok will come out there and make it even better?
oh my gosh, it's so tricky to predict these apps, because we had Vine before TikTok, if you remember Vine.
Yeah, yeah, but it didn't go far. I mean, it had
But
some
it didn't
fun
go
stuff,
far
but
because it had only allowed, I think, for 6 seconds for a video. So TikTok they've got all of these features, and I think I can't see something else like TikTok coming and being better, because if you want these longer videos, you've got YouTube.
yeah,
If you want someone's pictures, you've got Instagram. If you want someone's words, you've got Twitter. So in my head, I'm like, what could be next?
I don't know.
Like, what
I
could we
don't
be
know.
doing
Yeah.
more to share our lives with everyone? Like, they see so much, they know everything. What else could I possibly share? Like, I don't know. Like, I really don't. What about you? Do you think?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm wondering. Well, I know Elon Musk is doing wild stuff.
Oh, I know.
Who knows? Maybe we'll all be plugged into our brains. I don't know.
The Neuralink, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah, I
something.
don't know. I have no idea. But I'll be honest with you. I would have never. I would have never saw the cell phone become what it is.
Oh my God.
With
I know.
Instagram and Tinder and all the things, the ramifications of the apps that didn't exist the day before that phone, I would have never saw it coming. I would have never
Right.
guessed. You take a picture of
Right.
your check. I just none of that would have came to mind. I thought we were gonna have flying cars. I would have skipped the phone altogether.
I know. I'm the same way. I had a Razor flip phone
Yeah.
when I
Which was
was
a cool
14.
phone. That was a cool phone.
That was a cool phone. And I thought that that phone was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like just sending in the text with pressing the letter. I mean, but now, I mean, I think with phones, there is a bit that I really do have to check myself on. I'm like, okay, I cannot spend 30 minutes scrolling through Instagram. I can't do the scrolling. I will get lost
Yeah. And not
completely.
only that, but it eats away your creativity, I think.
Eats away your creativity. You're comparing yourself to other people. You know,
Now you're
it's so
frustrated. Now you're frustrated, and now
now you're
your
frustrated.
cup is empty instead of
Your
full.
cup's empty. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
This is such a good topic because I feel like a lot of people, they wake up, the first thing they do is open up Instagram. And like, I used to be the same way, but I really had to sit down and be like, okay, this is not cool. This is not the way that this is making me feel is not cool. I gotta figure something out. I mean, like, I put the time limits on my
Yeah, yeah.
phone.
My
I've done
daughter did the time limits. Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, I've done everything to just really break this habit because they did a study on this actually. And they said that the way that they've designed these algorithms in social media is the same way they designed Vegas slot machines. So your brain, like it really is tailored to keep you there. So you got to be smart with them. You got to use it to your best advantage.
Yes. Do you know what I did? Do
It's
you know what I did?
what?
I made sure that I had like 5 tasks in the morning that I had to complete before I could get the reward of playing on my phone.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
100%. Like I'm the same way. I'm like I have to get through everything I need done and then I can sit down and be a vegetable.
Yeah. Now
Because that's what you are.
the amazing thing is when you put a reward at the end, you become hyper efficient at making your
Yes,
bed,
yes.
at brushing your
You're
teeth,
doing
at
it.
making your breakfast, and you're like, okay,
Oh my God.
it's amazing how efficient you can become.
It's amazing. And then there's a habit formed, which is good.
But it's a good habit. It's a good
It's a
habit.
good habit because you're not waking up and being consumed by everything going on. So, I mean, yeah, that's so good. I mean, I should do that
Yeah. And
as
what you do is
well.
I just wrote down a list on a piece of paper like it was 1880.
Right,
Just wrote down a list
right.
and said, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And as I
Oh,
went, I added another thing, and then I added another thing, and I actually took away one thing. So then I
there
had
you
like
go.
6 instead of 5.
I'm a list person. I write lists every
Love them.
day of what I
Isn't
have
that
to do.
weird? Actually, I
Um,
got one right here.
yeah, my life would be in shambles if I did not have my lists. I have lists for everything, literally.
Yeah. Um,
But
Samantha, I am very impressed with everything I saw on TikTok, everything I saw on
oh my
Instagram.
God, thank you.
Um, you look like you're well traveled. How many countries have you been?
I've been to 22 countries. So during COVID, everything was really cheap. This was right before I moved to LA. I was going through something. I was like, I'm figuring my life out. It was between 2020 and 21, and everywhere was so cheap to travel. I mean, dirt cheap flight tickets. And then I would stay in like Airbnbs or figure something out. And it ended up being a really cost effective trip. And I was able to travel to so many countries during this
Yeah,
time. It
yeah,
was crazy.
22 is amazing. I'll be honest with you. I think my Spotify only reaches like 22, 24 countries right now as is. So you may have outdid my whole Spotify.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, did you
yeah,
do
I
all
think
that in one year?
no.
Oh, okay,
Some of
okay,
it's been done earlier years, but the bulk of that was in that one year
okay.
because I would,
That was a very discerning moment for you. That was a smart move
yeah,
because you'll never get another chance. It'll be 30, 40 years
no,
before
no,
something like that ever
100%.
pops
The
up again.
economy to do that again.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
100%,
Very cool.
100%.
Wish I would have
Yeah.
thought of that. I've got too much here, but yeah, that's pretty
Well,
cool.
I mean, there was countries like a lot of South American countries. Some countries, they were just like, we want the tourism money,
Yeah.
so we don't care if you come and like I was very careful. Like I always was getting tested going in and out of these countries. But the thing was, There's so many countries that they were like, you can come, just get a test.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't realize that. They really thought it was more that you couldn't travel anywhere. But you have to read between the lines sometimes. So yeah, that's
That's
that's what
quite an
happened.
experience. Yeah, that's quite an experience. And not only that, but you probably got to do things that you couldn't have done if there was 10,000 people in the
No,
way.
some of these places I would go empty, and it was a crazy thing. It really was.
Yeah, it's actually an
Pretty neat.
experience in and of itself.
Oh, 100%. It was surreal.
Yeah. So one of the pictures I saw that was really cool, and I don't know where you were, but there was a church with this wild-looking mural. What church was that? Yeah, it was on
Oh
the
my,
ceiling. It was this beautiful, like,
that's in Italy.
was it?
That's in Italy, and that is at the Vatican.
Oh, no kidding.
So Italy, and I'm actually Italian. I'm like
Okay.
99% Italian. Like my real last name's Salabeni. So
Oh yeah, sounds yeah, that
maybe
sounds yeah.
um Italy's got some very beautiful churches and artwork, and they've done a great job at preserving so much history that's there. So that was in Rome at the Vatican, and it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and that's where that was.
Okay, super cool.
Yeah.
What was your favorite country that you went to?
I went to Southeast Africa and I went to Uganda, and that country was my favorite because it was the most different, and it really made me think about my life and how there's a really big jump into how different societies live throughout the world that not a lot of people in the West um, notice or account for. We can get really caught up with our own lives and our own problems, and going to that place that was so, I mean, it was very poor. It was some of the things that we take for granted, like basic hot water, having an accessible food, having food at a grocery store that I can buy that's already been preserved for me. I mean, you can name it, but to see the way that, and have, I stayed there for almost a month.
Wow.
And being able to, everyone that I met was one of the kindest people I've ever met. I haven't laughed so much. I mean, everything was always so much fun. There was really never a dull moment. And all of the children that I met there were so innovative with everything that they could do with the utensils that they had. Was It was amazing to me. It was like, okay, you know, maybe in the future when I have kids, it's like, I'm not going to let them sit on an iPad and rumble around. Like, this is these places can teach us so much about a lot of things, but to see how someone else lived in a completely different way was so great. And I do want to go back. It takes so long to get there, but I want to go back
I
and
I
spend
don't I
time. I
don't I
taught
don't.
English.
Oh, did you? Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
But I don't think people realize
So
how
there
much abundance we have.
abundance, yeah, and it's easily accessible to
Yeah.
us.
We're getting to the point.
So
Actually, I had a discussion with a guy a couple weeks ago where we don't rob each other for sneakers anymore. No one breaks into the car to steal like stereos.
right,
We have so much
right.
that a pair of Jordans
Oh,
ain't worth killing anybody anymore.
right,
Yeah,
right. Isn't that crazy?
yeah. We're at the point now. It's like who steals a TV?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So we have
And
the abundance that people don't realize how much we have.
it's very, very crazy. And I know a lot of people talk about this a lot, but when I truly mean it, like, when I went, I truly mean it. I think it's a really good trip, and I think a lot of people, at least once in your life, should take the time to try and get out there. Um, find an organization that you can work with to get out there. So overall,
And there's a
I
lot of them out there. There's a lot of them out there.
there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Um,
You hear stories all the time about them drilling new water wells, putting up new schools
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
I think they
Yes.
said Bill Gates and a couple other guys planned on curing hunger worldwide by 2030, and I think they already did it. I think it's already over.
Wow.
I think world hunger, like you don't see those videos, those TV commercials where the kids with the big
Right.
bellies and the flies everywhere.
Well, here's the thing. It's hard because when I went there, I saw some things that's like, okay, there's just a lot going on that we don't know.
Yeah,
So it's hard because their government, like I don't donate to any of the organizations that work with any place in Southeast Africa. You really have to donate directly because their government will take every single one of those funds
it's a
direct.
shame.
They will not give
Corruption
them
is a hell of a
a
thing, huh?
shame.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that. And the healthcare system's crazy. I saw a lot of people there. This one man I saw, his arm was just pretty much, he had something wrong with it. It was infected. Something was wrong. It was, I mean, he needed to see a doctor immediately. It was bad. I've never seen something like this. And to think that he's out here working in his backyard, he doesn't like, he's probably not going to get to see someone unless someone takes him. So it's, there's a lot. There's a lot. And I think what they're doing is great, but I think I think it might take some time
Oh yeah,
to
no, it's gonna
reach
take
some
time.
of
It's
these
gonna take time.
areas
Well, people don't realize. You
for
look at
sure.
like ancient Egypt and stuff. They were at the pinnacle, or Rome when Rome was at its height. There were still people
Right.
running around
Right.
in the jungles with sticks and bows. Just
Oh,
because there was a high
100%. Yeah.
civilization doesn't mean there was not other
Right.
groups of people that were still
Right.
basically at the beginning.
Right.
And
Right.
then so, but right now we are working on getting everybody a cell phone. We're working on getting everybody a house. We're really getting there.
Right.
And the world
Right.
is moving so fast in that direction
So
that
fast.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think we're looking at more than 40 or 50 years. So one more generation, and I think almost the whole world will be at least the outskirts of San Antonio or the outskirts of Pittsburgh kind of scenario. It's coming
I
to that
know.
pretty quick. Yeah.
It's really, really, really crazy. It's hard to
It's
watch.
pretty cool. Well, it's kind of cool to see that we're living in a time where all that's going to come to an end to a certain degree.
I know. I know. I know.
Yeah.
Very it's crazy. It is.
I don't think people realize how closely connected we are to all of human, all of
Oh,
us. We're
yeah.
so much more connected than we think,
Than
and
we
our
think we
influence
are.
means more than we think. The things we
Yes,
say,
the
the things
imprint
we
that we
do.
leave.
Yeah, we leave a lot more than we think.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It really, no, couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Think about how many people there in Uganda will never forget you and will probably try to do something they
Right.
would have never dreamed of thinking of because they met you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Isn't that a great feeling? That's an
crazy.
amazing thing. And then someday
Yeah,
they
it
hear
is.
your music on the radio. That's even more mind-boggling, right?
Yeah, no, it really is. Things are the timing of things. I'm like, sometimes I think, okay, was this already set out for me to happen? Like, was my like, do you ever think that? I'm like, do
Yeah.
do things move in a way where
Oh
I'm like,
yes.
okay,
Oh yes.
I'm gonna decide that I'm going to the store, or was it already decided that I was gonna go to the store and that just, do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
crazy.
On that, I wonder if you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. For instance,
Right.
could anybody have stopped you from singing?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I know, like it's a weird concept because
Well, here's the deal: someone could have, but then the whole world would have been missing something, and someone else would have had to done it a
Right.
generation later.
right,
You would have just
not the
denied. You would have denied the universe what it was supposed to have.
right. I would have lived in denial as well.
Yes, and that's why
So
we're supposed to not tell lies. That's why we're supposed to be as nice
I
to other
know.
people as we can, because those
Yes.
things matter more than we think. It trickles into our creativity.
100%.
It trickles into the quality of our. It trickles into everything. It really
Everything.
does. Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
So
So I got a question. What did you think it was going to be like to be on a podcast? How many podcasts do you do?
I've been on a few. This would be a great time to talk about one that I went on not too long ago. I don't know if you know who they are. It's called the Whatever Podcast.
No, I never heard of that one.
No, so I've been on a few maybe a few,
Okay.
not a ton. Maybe this was the fourth. And I actually was like, I've done a couple magazine article interviews and I'm typing my answers. But when you said, can I come on? I was like, absolutely. I really like to talk to people. So I think this is great. And I haven't been on one in so long. So this is great. But I was asked, this is actually it's just a funny story. I was asked to go on this podcast called, and I don't care, I'll call them out. It's a called Whatever podcast. And so they had asked me to go in person and do this, and that there would be three other girls there. And so when I went, I show up and they're like, all right, so we're going to be talking about dating life. And I'm like, oh God. All right. So we all sat down and there was one host, it was a guy host, and he's just railing us with the worst possible questions like anyone could ever ask. This poor girl was like, he was like, "Are you dating anyone?" She's like, "Oh, I'm single." And he put us all in a position where it was just the worst kind of guy. He was trying this was definitely a guy's podcast. Like the audience was all men, 100%. It was crazy. So they recently asked me if I wanted to come back. And I was like, no, I can't go back. I'm just like, in my head, is there any other possible topic that you could be doing right now? Like anything in this world that people could listen to that might be positive. Like this podcast here that you've got, I've listened to other ones and it's just great.
Yeah, I
Like I
love
love
it,
what you,
man. Yeah, it's a great idea. And
you
do you know
know,
how this started? It was supposed to be me
no.
and my daughter. My
Oh my
daughter's
God.
19, and we were going to sit next to each other and just rant because we're great at talking to each other. Well,
You're you're great. Like I could probably talk to you all day. Like this is
yeah,
great. Like yeah.
it is. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's a lost art. I think just like other arts,
Yes,
this is a lost art. People don't talk on
it
the phone
is.
like they should. I don't think
I
people talk in
know.
person like they should.
Radio.
Yeah, it's not the same anymore. And I'll be when I grew
I
up,
know.
I'm 44. So when I grew up, you go to the bar. It was a little bit loud, but you go outside, have a cigarette, and you could talk to someone one to one. You could pull them away from the
Yes.
crowd. You can get away from the five or six friends, and you
Right.
can actually have an
Right.
intimate moment where it got slightly awkward and quiet for a second.
Yes.
And there was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing
There's
wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man, it was an amazing. And as a guy, you could set it up so it can go down that road a little bit on purpose. And it
Right.
was
Right.
fun. It
So
was
yeah.
fun because it's a cat and mouse game. And
Right.
you just don't know how it's going to play out.
So you asked me if I wanted to go podcast. Of course, I want to talk. So I mean, hey, in LA, I feel like we've got some bars and some places where things are like that, and it's great. They've kept a lot of like we've got some old record parlors, we've got some jukebox bars, we've
Yeah,
got some bars where there's old pinball machines, old games. So really, some good culture out here where they've kept that.
awesome. And I think they should because I'll
Yeah,
be honest with you. You see like Stranger Things and stuff, and I'm like, man, I remember doing all that stuff.
yeah,
And it was a lot
yeah.
of fun. And to think my kids don't get that as much as I did, it breaks my
Oh,
heart, to
it's
be honest with
I
you.
know.
And so yeah, go to those bars if you get a chance and have some fun because it's a
Yeah,
blast to have those moments
it's a
that don't
blast.
exist in any other way.
100%. That doesn't exist being on FaceTime.
No, it's
It's,
not. It's
you
really
know,
not the same. Yeah.
and people really do thrive on connection. And that's one thing that's, with COVID is that a lot of things have been shifted to online or people have leaned into social media more. And, that's all great and dandy, but it's so important for people to have friends in real life and to have these real life connections, um, talking instead of
Yeah.
texting,
Yeah, because we're meant to
It's
sharpen ourselves. And I'll be honest with you,
right,
your facial features, where your eyes are focused, all those things matter when we're in the middle of a conversation. And
right. Absolutely.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
it changes a lot the dynamic. Just your cologne, all the whole environment makes it.
Everything.
Yeah, you can't duplicate that in any form, but in
No,
person. Yeah.
in person.
And
Yeah.
I wish I could do this podcast in person, but Samantha, there was no way
No,
I could have talked to the guy that was in Virginia yesterday and you
I
today
know.
outside of this
I
scenario.
know, I know. Well, no, this is great. This is just, I mean, this is amazing that you can do that.
Yeah, I love it. I love
So,
it. Yeah. I was
so
born
great.
for it too because I like talking. And I'll be honest with my kids, the whole reason why it's called Padres Perspective is my kids were learning Spanish, and they're like, "What's dad for Spanish?" Padre. So like
Padre.
Padre this, Padre that, and we always have dinner together. And they're like, "Okay." We talk, and I'll start going on a rant. They're like, "Oh, everybody stop! It's Padre's perspective."
Oh my
Yeah, and they're
God, that's
laughing at me.
amazing.
They were making fun of me. So I was like, "Okay,
That is
that we're
amazing.
gonna turn this into because I like talking and I like being able to tell.
Right,
Yeah, and the kids they thought it was funny that I'm constantly trying to tell them something cool that I learned, and they don't want to hear it.
right. They seem great. So you have a 19-year-old daughter and
I have 6 kids. I have 5 daughters.
oh my God, you have 6 kids.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
yeah. It took 6 tries
Wow.
to get a boy,
No way.
and he is 6 years old. Yes,
Oh my
I
God.
call him the dude. I call him the dude,
And 5 girls.
and five big sisters.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So my grandparents, they had 3 daughters. Not the same, but they did the same thing. They were trying for a boy. They got 3 daughters. So
And they gave up. They gave up.
they gave up. They did, yeah. That's great though.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think it was
And
worth it. I wouldn't give it up. It's kind of funny.
no,
Everybody's personalities are so unique, and you just
right.
don't
They're
know.
all so different. Oh,
Yeah.
it's such a it's and oh my God, that's such a great thing to be able to look around and say, this is what I've done. This is what I've created. It's
Yeah.
great.
If I've never done anything else, I did something right. Yeah, because it's
Yeah, 100%.
and I almost thought I was going to be late doing this podcast because I had to go get someone and her friend with the soccer game. So
Oh
I
my
was like, man,
goodness.
she's going to be so mad at me because I'm like, I can't stand when someone's late. I'm like, this, she's going to bail on me. I'm like, no.
No, no, 100. I'm really cool. I'm
Okay.
totally fine. But oh my God, that is it. I mean, how many live with you right now? Like,
It's
are they
just me.
all?
It's just me and the 6 kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You are doing so much.
Thank God
Oh my
the old,
God.
yeah, thank God the oldest ones were girls because it kind of helps. If it would have been a
Right.
couple guys, I would have been in trouble.
Yeah, girls tend to be really independent.
Not only that, but my oldest daughter, she helps me a lot with so much. I couldn't do it without her.
Right. That
The
sounds
second one helps a lot too, but
right.
Riley definitely is the. And actually, she's my second podcast. I interviewed her on the second podcast.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. That sounds, I mean, who's your favorite podcast other than your own?
I listen to mine sometimes because I'm trying to. I'm like, okay, what could I have done better? I remember talking to
Right.
this guy. I remember talking to this
Right.
girl, and I'm like, I know she
Always looking
said,
to improve.
yeah, yeah, looking to improve. And
Yeah.
not gonna lie, Joe Rogan's pretty amazing. I do like him.
I was just about to say, you give me Joe Rogan vibes. You remind me of that energy that you can, I mean, it's great. Like, it's because that's why I would watch Joe Rogan, is because he's just a genuine, cool person. He says it like it is. And he's also positive.
Yeah, and I think that's
He's
super
really,
important, man.
I
You know,
think it being positive is, yeah,
that guy, when you did that podcast with that guy that was actually
yeah,
setting you up and had predetermined
yeah,
decisions already made
right,
to argue with you, it was basically you were a
right.
mannequin. You weren't even
A
necessary.
100%.
That's like for
That's what
me.
got me about that.
For me, it's like a fun sponge. You just suck the fun right out of the room.
Oh
And
my God,
why would I want to be
100%.
that guy? How am I going to get you to want to push my podcast after being on it if I just suck the fun out of the room?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
It's like
not. Yeah.
you want to feel, when you're done, you want to feel good. Like, it's great to have those hard, truthful conversations, and Joe Rogan's great at that. But he has a way of like just turning the whole thing around. You always feel pretty, you always feel like you listened to something good. And that's, so you remind me, and that's
Very cool.
great.
Okay, well I take
Yeah,
that as a compliment.
yeah,
But my daughter listens to one. There's a lady. Not Call Her Daddy. She does listen to Call Her Daddy, but she listens to a
yeah.
different one that's pretty good. And I'll be honest
Okay.
with you, if we're in the car, I'll listen. I don't mind listening. Because
Right,
if
right,
you're a
right.
captivating voice, if you've got something to say that's worth saying, it's worth listening to.
Well, it's absolutely 100%. You want to get different perspectives. You want to see
Yeah.
different sides of things.
And who would have
Um,
known this was going to even be a thing, man? 10 years ago, I would have never guessed that we'd have.
right. See, there you
Uh,
go. You're turning something you love into you. I mean, you don't know where this could turn into. It could,
I have
you
no
know what
idea.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's only up from here.
Yes, and that's the goal. I'm just going to keep pumping
You're
this
putting
out.
yourself out there and you're doing what you want to do. So
Yeah. And I get to
it's great.
meet so many people. It's
Oh my God,
unbelievable.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
The conversations that you get to have.
Yeah. There was a flat
Super
earther. The
special.
guy was great. There was another guy that, yeah, they're just some wild stuff, man. And
Oh, you get
I
wild
want to
stuff.
hear what you got to say about a flat earth or a hollow earth.
Oh my
I want to
God.
know, did they make it to the moon? I want to know.
Oh my God, that is great.
And I'm not here to dog the guy because I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that I'm with you. But guess what? I'm going to be open minded and I'm going to be happy to listen to what you got to say. And we're going to have fun because you know what? What if? What if some of what you have to say
What if, right?
is compelling
Oh
or
my God.
just.
You know who else is one of my favorite people to listen to, and you should listen to him because he's great. I don't know if you've heard of him before, but Duncan Trussell.
No, I never heard of him. I'll write
Oh
him
my
down.
God. He's got a podcast called Duncan Trussell Family Hour, but not only he also did a Netflix show called Midnight Gospel. It was a cartoon and his voice was one of the main characters. He's super philosophical, but his podcast is hilarious. Just a really good guy. I
Right.
mean, you got to check him out. He's another one.
I wrote it down. I will check it out.
Yeah.
All right, good
Yeah.
deal. So, Samantha, how do you like LA?
I really do love LA. I think for me, I'm young, and so they've got so much compared to where I was living before. It's like, okay, any activity that I want to do, I can do it, whether it's a yoga class, a box, like any possible thing I can think of. I'm like, okay, there's something in LA for me in this moment. The concerts,
Yeah.
me and my friends, we go to outdoor concerts. Like every weekend, there's different themes of concerts at different bars. You're never bored.
Yeah.
There's never not something going on. There's never not someone that can help you out with something. Um, you're never short on meeting new people. Um, you know, it really is difficult with how expensive it gets. The gas is crazy. My apartment is very costly, and sometimes the homeless situation in LA is sometimes difficult to understand, and I can't really speak much on it because I don't know a lot about it and what's causing it the most, and I don't know the right answer to it. And you know, I do know that I pay a lot for my apartment, and I do know that, homelessness is still a really big struggle. I mean, I live in Hollywood, so it's here. It's apparent to me, and it's difficult to see that. But
Yeah,
do I
those are
like
human
living in
beings. Those
LA?
are human beings, and it's a heart wrenching
Yeah,
scenario.
and it's hard to understand. It's really hard to understand, what can even be done right now at this point. And
Well, it seems like money isn't the answer.
no,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
No, because
Unfortunately, I wish it was. But money is a complex thing all by itself that doesn't work very
right,
well when you use it as a tool to just fix something. It
right.
wasn't designed that
So
way. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But do I like living in LA?
Oh, of
Absolutely. I
course.
think
Oh, yeah.
like
I
I
can't
now
imagine.
it's just sometimes I'm like, God, I love living here. I'm like, this is great that I can do so many different things. And
Yeah. I've
um,
never been to the West Coast. I live outside of
okay,
San Antonio, and this is the furthest west I've ever been. I grew up in
okay,
Connecticut, so I would go to New York
interesting.
City and Boston all the time.
Right. I mean, I grew up on the East Coast as well.
Yeah.
I grew up
And
in
I love
Florida.
the East
So
Coast. I love the East Coast.
I
I
do
went up and
love the
down
East Coast.
95 and yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, 95. I do. I'm an
Yeah.
East Coast girl, but um for, being my age and what I do, I couldn't think really of a better place for me to live right now.
Yeah. It does. It
So,
sounds like an adventure all by itself just to live there.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
because every
Oh,
weekend's a new weekend. And
and yes, there's always something exciting or like random that happens, and you're like, okay, this would only happen in LA. Like I would only see this in LA.
yeah.
Like you're at Target and it just oh my God, the people sometimes. I'm trying to think of this. Just I mean, you just get
Go ahead. If you're
I don't
laughing,
I
it's got
can't
to be
even
worth it.
I can't even tell the story I was gonna say. It's just I don't even know how to explain it, but
Well, that's a
it's
shame.
just
Because I want to hear it now.
I
I want to hear it now.
it's just like, yeah, no. I was at Target and basically it's just you've got this guy, he might be homeless, he might be not, heels, dress, outfit, brings out a banjo, is just ripping it in the middle of Target. It's just like, all right, this is great. This would
Yeah,
only
yeah.
happen.
This is gonna help me buy my shower stuff.
This is yeah, this is just only happened in LA. So it's just, I mean,
Did him
it's
being homeless matter anyways? What did it even matter?
right, it
That
wouldn't
was
even
an
matter.
epic moment either way.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, no, it's a cool
I'm
thing to
not.
be here.
I'm not gonna lie to you. LA has a mystical thing to it because when I was a kid, I wanted
Oh
to
my
go to
God.
the West Coast. I wanted to go to LA.
It
When I
does.
was a teenager getting out of high school, Kurt Cobain was on top. All
Oh my
that,
God,
yeah,
yeah.
Pearl Jam, all that stuff. So I was like, man, I want to go to the
Love Pearl
West Coast.
Jam.
Yeah, I want to go to West
Yeah.
Coast. I want to see what it's like to live.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm constantly so because I really love old Hollywood and really Laurel Canyon, all of the artists that came from creating music there.
I wanted to go to
Joni
Huntington Beach. I
Mitchell,
wanted to go to Huntington Beach, to be honest with you.
Huntington Beach, yeah.
Yeah.
Joni Mitchell,
Oh yeah.
Neil Young, so
Yeah.
many great musicians that have came from here, and being able to live in the midst of all of it and to be able to create music here is it's pretty special.
Super
You get
cool.
that old Hollywood feel always, no matter
Yeah.
it's fun, it's great. Um,
Do you ever get to rub shoulders with anybody like a old actor or old actress that would have been back from the 80s or 90s or something?
Say that one more time.
Do you ever get a chance to rub shoulders with anybody that's like an old
Yes.
actress or old actor?
So actually, Elvis's daughter was at a place called the Formosa Cafe, and my really good friend works there, and they got to see her on that night,
On the night that
about
she passed away.
72 hours before it.
Wow. Okay.
So it was
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, no
And then
one
I
saw
see
that
some
coming.
people, and I see a lot of people. I mean, I haven't seen too many people from the 80s, but I've seen some current people now, and really what I've been taught is you never bat an eye because you want everyone to take you just as serious as you are. So, if I do meet someone out and I'm inside, I'm like, oh my God, this person is so and so. This is crazy that I'm meeting them. On the outside, I'm talking to them like I am anyone else because I I want to get taken seriously. So that's been something else that I've learned because when I used to come to LA before even moving here and I would maybe see someone as I'd be like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And
You'll
but no,
never. You
yeah.
could never be their equal if you're doubting over them.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
That makes sense.
Still really cool to see that. But yeah, no,
It'd be hard. It'd
there's
be hard if I met Tom Hanks or somebody
it's
like,
hard.
yeah, like Kurt
Yeah.
Russell or something. Yeah, somebody
Oh
that
my
I thought
God.
that was the coolest guy in the world. How are you
Right.
not going to ask for an autograph? Or at least a
I
picture.
know, I
At
know.
least a picture so
At
I can
least a
prove
picture.
that I
I
met this
know.
dude.
Yes,
There's no way. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, but then you want to be
See,
taken
and there's those
serious.
times where I didn't even ask for a photo and I do. I walk away and I'm like, no one's even gonna
Trying to get one
know.
behind you as you're walking away. That's Kurt Russell's back.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Oh my God.
or Jonah Hill, or I don't know, whoever it be.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I think LA, I think of super bad immediately. I don't know why, or the Big
Oh my God.
Lebowski,
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It
So on that note,
is.
since you're in Hollywood, what's your favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. Well, give me a genre because I mean, like, so I
Okay,
know
what
this.
movie did you watch 200 times at 12 or 13 years old?
Oh my God. Palo Alto. This movie was directed by Gia Coppola. There's a lot of people that really hate it. There's a lot of people that thought it was awful. It's actually James Franco is an actor in this, and he also wrote a book called Palo Alto, and they made a movie off of this book that James Franco wrote. And it's got some um, Julia Roberts is in it. It's
That
got
sounds
some
awesome.
really
James Franco's great.
Nat Wolf's in it. It's yeah, James Franco's brain, and the movie itself, the soundtrack to the movie was ridiculous. It was so good, and the movie itself, when I watched it when I was 13, I thought it was the craziest thing in the world. I thought it was the best thing ever. I watched it recently, not too long ago, just to go back and watch it, and it's different now because I'm older, but I think that is one of my favorite films created. Gia Coppola is great. She's a great director, and the way the cinematography of the film was great. I mean, um, everything, everything about it. It's really about. It's based in Palo Alto, California. That's where they shot it. And it's about bunch of teenagers. They're growing up, and it really just dives deep into the grittiness of growing up, and it's a it's a reminds me a bit of Euphoria, but it was done differently.
Okay.
It was done differently, but
Very cool.
yeah,
I love asking questions like that because it's always a compelling conversation because you don't know what you're
yeah.
drawing
I've
out of
got
that person.
right. I mean, I've got some new ones that I just really like. The Hateful Eight.
Okay,
I
yeah,
love
I
that
saw that, yeah.
movie for
But
so
there's
many
something
reasons.
to be said about that movie when you're 13. There's
100%.
there's always
Oh my God,
that one
yes.
special movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, because you're growing up, you're learning things, and this is something that's stuck with you.
It almost becomes a part of your ego or a part of
It
your
be, oh my God.
something inside.
Yes. Yes. I really related to one of the characters on there, and it just
and
changed everything
and
for
you'll
me. To be
change
able
who
to
you
do
are a
that.
little bit because I don't think people
100%.
realize we were designed to mimic other people.
Yes,
We mimic. That's why
we do.
children will do what you do, not do what you say.
Right.
They were
Right.
designed to mimic you.
I really good research on this, and it's so true.
It's
But
something annoys you about your father, and you hyper focus on that one thing. That's what you're gonna do
that's what it's crazy.
because
I
you're designed
know.
to mimic. For some reason we're
It's
designed to
crazy.
mimic each other.
It's crazy.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, it's the
It
wildest
is.
thing. I remember my dad used to drive me bonkers. We worked in construction together, and it would be Sunday night or something, and he'd be like, you got to go to bed. You got to turn off your light. I'm like 19, 18, 19 years old. And he's like, you got to go to bed. We got a big day tomorrow. And I would
Right. Yeah,
mock
like
him.
us.
I would mock him and say, we got a big day tomorrow. We got a big day tomorrow. And
Look
then
at you now.
25 years later, I'm saying we got a big day tomorrow. And my kids are mocking me, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. I'm my
This is what
father.
happens.
I'm my father.
Oh my God. That is no. I know. I do the same thing with things that my mom does, like slurping coffee. Oh my
And it would
God.
drive you nuts. It would absolutely
It would
tear your
really like,
eyeballs out.
oh my God, I know. And now I
It's
find
almost a
myself doing,
comforting thing because it's a part of who you are almost.
yes,
It's engraved in you in a certain, almost like a
it's
stamp.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So,
Oh my God.
on that note, what do you see? What are you doing right now? I want to get back into what you are, what
Yeah.
Samantha's doing, how
I know
Samantha is.
we veered so many places.
That's okay. That's
That's okay
okay.
though.
But
Yeah.
we got a sense of who you are and where this is all
Yeah.
coming from. So
Great.
outside of messing around with the music you already created, are you doing something new? Is there a new project going on right now?
Absolutely. And that's what I'm really excited about right now is so Valentine's Day is my next single release, but what I'm doing right now is I'm working my ass off right now. I'm every single day I'm in a studio, sometimes different studios, but I'm creating an album right now called Summers, and it's going to be 13 tracks on there, and that album will be released in August of this year. There's going to be about three song releases before the album, three singles from the album that I'll release as some promo, and then that album will be released. And this is some of my best work, and I'm super excited about it because I'm the sole writer on all the tracks,
Okay.
and um, I'm working with some great people, and I really do think it's my best work. So I'm super enthusiastic and excited about this. It's an album called Summers because it's a concept album. So some of the titles on the track are Beaches, Sunset, um, Strawberry Sensation. I want to say we're doing some rock and roll, we're doing some folk, a lot of acoustic guitar, a, some influences would be the Beatles, Joni Mitchell, The Strokes. Um,
It's old stuff.
got some really good stuff in here. And then the whole album itself is just around it's summers is always a crazy time in my life. For me, it's transformative. There's a lot going on. Usually a lot changes in those months. I know for people growing up, it was always weird. It's like you're out of school. It's heartbreak, summer love, friendships, loneliness, change,
A lot of
growing
up and
up.
down, a lot of up and downs, and it's a lot
A
of fun
lot of
too
up
because
and
you don't know what's
down.
going to happen. You just don't know.
Right. It's also like the dead, like sort of middle of the year.
True.
So
Yeah, that's true.
things are things always change, and that's what the album's about. And
Well, Samantha, I
so
love the energy. I love the energy. That's
thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone, I have my first show in LA on the 31st of January. So that will be in Hollywood.
Wow. Okay. Super
Yeah, I'm
cool.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna perform some of the songs that will be on the album then. It's just gonna be a really stripped down set. I'll have a guitarist, I'll play a little bit of guitar on there. Got a percussionist, but that's gonna be it. There's no backing track,
Oh
which will
wow.
be
Okay.
great.
That'll be pretty cool then. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
instruments are great, and I think people really we need to get back um
To the basics.
to the basics. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm working on right now.
So I got a question because you guys are so close to Vegas. Can you do like venues in Vegas? Is that something that's very
100%,
common?
100%, 100%. You know, getting booked is the one thing. So
Ah, okay.
right now, I just got booked with Breaking Sound LA, and I believe that they also do venues in other places, but who I was booked with, I think was just Breaking Sound LA. So I think they could book me more LA venues, possibly. I'm not sure, but I'm sure of it that there's other companies that I can reach out to for other venues in other places because I would love to go to other places. I think what I'm going to try to set up is after I release the album, I'm going to try to set up 5 to 10 shows throughout the US so that it's a mini tour
Oh, that's super cool. Okay.
of the album. So it'll be like the summer's tour. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I noticed when I was talking to a lot of comedians, they have like a community onto themselves. So if they go
Yes.
to any city, it seems like there's a
People
camaraderie.
flock. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Crazy.
wonder why you magicians, musicians, musicians don't have that same camaraderie
I
as
I think it's because
strongly.
right. I think it's because one, if you're a small artist, it's like the amount of people that you have in one specific location might vary.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I think it's so spread out sometimes when you're new. And then two, as an artist, all of my music, you can stream it
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay X. And so it's a more of a personal experience. Someone has to really
So
want to
I got
see
a
me
question with
perform.
that. How do you get paid if I stream your song for free on Spotify? How does that work?
So I have a producer on the song, and they get a certain percentage of every stream, and Spotify gives you 0. So 0.005. So if let's say like one of my songs right now is like 50,000 streams. So I have to times 50,000 by 0.005.
Oh man. Okay.
That's $250.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're really not making money unless the song is
It's viral.
up there
It's got
in
to
the
be on
millions
top. Yeah.
viral. Yeah, it's got to, which gives you incentive
To
to
keep
work,
pushing. To keep pushing.
to
Yeah.
keep pushing, to keep
Yeah.
pushing. You know, it's I get it. I get why that has to be that way, but it is. It's an incentive to keep pushing, and that's how that works with the streaming. Um,
I know this though. Though you do it once, the second time is going to be a cakewalk.
I know, and that's like the more I do, the more experience, because this is a big industry. It really is, and there's so much that I don't know still. There's so much that I need to learn, and um, even now, I'm like, okay, things are easier. Like going into a studio and telling someone what I want to do is easier than it was last year.
Yeah.
When it like everything, it does get easier. So
Yeah.
it's 100%.
Before you know it, you're touring the whole country, maybe even Europe. Who knows?
Right,
Wouldn't
right.
that be awesome? That would be amazing, man. That's such a
A
cool
dream come true.
perspective
It's
that you could never.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know what? I envision that. I envision, those things happening. I put those things out there. So,
I got great news. I truly believe it. You see, from what I heard and what I see, you're an amazing person. Um,
oh, thank you
the
so
odds,
much.
the odds are you can do 10 times more than your imagination even can see.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. That no, it's
Honestly,
so good.
I think
Thank
that's
you.
true for all of us.
Thank you. I do. I really do. People need to hone into that more. They really need to believe in themselves and be. I know that sounds so
Cliche when
overused,
you're
but
saying it, and people
yes, but
say
it's
that they
really
feel like they're almost impersonating themselves when they're striving so
right.
hard. But
Right.
you can't let that feeling overwhelm you.
No,
Yeah,
no. It's because there's no greater joy than living out the dream that you play inside of your head. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I look at myself now and I remember in my 20s, I would joke or mock or harass someone that wasn't doing that great at a dream they were trying to aspire at. And I look back at it now and I see someone else, I say, you know what? Oh, hold on. He's aiming for something.
This person's onto something
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
aiming for something. He
They're
may not be doing a great job, and not everybody was
but
supposed to be number
he's
one,
trying.
but at least he's
And
trying.
but at least he's trying. And that's where the power lies,
Yeah.
is saying, and as I said in the beginning of the podcast, you can't be afraid to fail. You got to be okay with sucking sometimes
Yeah,
at
oh
something.
yeah. And I'll be honest
Okay.
with you, man. If you fail enough, you will succeed. It's
You will
impossible.
succeed.
Yeah,
You
it's
will.
impossible. Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
It really is. Putting yourself out there and yeah,
It is. It's an
it is.
adventure. It's an adventure. And like I said, when
100%.
you aim at something, you're looking at a target. You go and you shoot the
Yes.
bow and arrow and you miss. But now I know: do I aim higher, lower, left, right? And I
Right.
can
What
take a
did I
couple
do
steps.
wrong?
Yeah, what did I do wrong?
Right.
I can take a couple
But at
steps
least
forward, and all of a sudden, this game gets a little easier, and my
right.
target gets a little bit bigger, and my ability to hit it becomes a little bit easier. And
Right.
if you can win, now you can move the target. Now you're not
Right.
trying to take over L.A. Now you're trying to take over the west half of them. You know, I mean, you don't know, or try to take over
It's
Spotify, or try to take over
it's
YouTube.
crazy.
Yeah, there's
Right.
no,
It's crazy.
and
It's
the adventure
crazy.
never ends. It really never ends.
I know, and that's what's so beautiful about it.
And you get to take people with you when you do succeed.
Oh my God, that's what's so great. And I think I mean Taylor Swift, she's done so many. I think she really is influential for me in her career, and because she does everything so professionally, kind, and she's brought on a lot of artists. Like even with this tour that she's doing now, she's bringing along artists that she thinks are, and she's bringing
Yeah,
on.
yeah. What's that girl's name? Because my daughter loves that girl. Who is she? Can't think of her
There's a
name now.
lot.
Yeah.
There's like a group of like 5 or 6 independent artists and bands that are opening for her on this tour. I think
Super
that's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Too bad they're so expensive. I wish they weren't so.
I know. I know. I
I
know.
feel bad. I would love to. I know my 2 or 3 oldest daughters would love to, but I can't. I can't. The nosebleeds are
I
outrageous.
I got tickets to the last show in LA because a friend of mine was a Capital One member and they got the tickets. Listen, so they my cousin's dad got her and my cousin or no, my cousin's okay, so my cousin has a best friend. There's 2 girls, and her dad had gotten her the tickets to Taylor Swift concert. They're not that big of a fan. And so my cousin Christina's like, all right, well, I know someone that is. So I mean, so the dad like bought these tickets for Christmas, and these girls are just they don't want them. They don't want them. So Chris, my cousin, she was like, okay, I think I know someone, and I bought them because they sold them to me for less than the price they got them for, and I think they are nosebleeds, but it's fine because I was like, okay, it's the last show in LA. This is great.
Yeah, man, that's
But
awesome.
I do think that's crazy how the resale is so insane. It's
It's unbelievable. But you know what they say?
unbelievable.
They say there's a math equation where like 10% of all the best basketball players, or no, like 90% of all the scored baskets are from 10% of the players, and
Right,
like 90% of all the music comes from 10% of the writers, and
right,
10% of the best movies, or 90% of the best movies come. There's like this weird distribution where
right, right,
someone somehow just keeps failing and failing until they get it. And then once
right.
they get it, they can that cup pours out, and they could just put out 1,000 songs.
100%.
I don't know how.
100%.
I don't know how that math equation works.
It's
What the
crazy.
magic sauce is, I don't know. But yeah, but it happens to everything.
Yeah.
It's not just music. It's not just basketball.
Oh yeah.
It's everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that
Hmm.
like you go to Wall Street, 90% of all the money is in 10% of all the hands. And no
Right.
matter what you do, and they said if you took all the money away and you gave it to everybody equally, it would all end up back in the exact same hands again. Everybody would go to
That,
Walmart and
oh my
spend all their
gosh.
money at Walmart, and everybody that had the money
Oh
to
my
begin with would
gosh.
end up
Just
with the
think
money again.
about that is
Isn't that
think about
crazy?
that is
That is
crazy.
the weirdest world we live in. But
That's
that same
crazy.
universe is the one that will reward you for trying over and over again.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Wow. Such a crazy analogy to think about.
I constantly I'm thinking all the time, and little things like putting those 5 little tasks before I play with my phone. I do things like that all the time, and then see how hyper
Yes.
efficient I can get. And when you
Yes.
focus on all the
Testing
little
yourself.
things, the big things take care of themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's why relationships are so important. There's when you come home to your kids and you have a big smile on your face, that's like 75% of your happiness.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
100%.
that 5 minutes is more because you do that 3,000 times.
Right.
So it's
You're
not 5 minutes,
building
it's
that.
five. Yeah, yeah. And now everybody's
Right.
mood has been set for the day. So I take those little things. I think those are the most important things. I try to make that
100.
my focus on everything.
I'm always like, I don't know what someone else has been through. If somehow I can make them
Yeah, and
feel better, okay, for a moment, and I can be the one to do that, that's
and you're not a
makes
fun
you feel
sponge,
good
and
too.
you're not a fun sponge.
And then I'm not a fun sponge.
Sucking the
Exactly.
fun.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants
Oh
that. It's
man,
fun. It's like no one wants that.
no one wants that. Yeah.
I've been in relationships with a fun sponge. It's like you got great news, you're excited about it, you go and tell them, and they've got nothing good to say. And you know what? You realize sometimes those people, you're like, oh my God,
Go
oh my
play your
God.
video game and leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like the people that are, I mean, us people that are open and positive and you lead a richer life. You do.
Yeah.
Than people that are closed off and negative. There's nothing wrong with being real, but
Yeah, but being real doesn't have to be. I'm gonna take your joy away from that moment.
right, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, granted, there's gonna be days where I'm not in a good mood and you are, and we're not gonna
Right,
hit heads perfectly. But
right,
there's a difference between me putting down the video game console and saying, I'm just gonna shit on your parade right now.
right,
Let's go,
right,
and now let's go to dinner. That's the opposite
right.
of what I'm saying, going home and saying hi to my kids. And I will consciously, I don't know if they even know this, so I'm gonna try not to say it too loud, is as I'm driving home, I'm thinking, okay, I don't care if that guy drove me nuts or I got mad that I had to do
Yes,
the
you're
extra
letting
job.
it all
I'm
go.
gonna
You're
go
like,
like this and
okay, I know.
smile,
Yes,
because I just need to smile for 5 minutes, and their smiles and their giggles and that stupid paper that would have drove me nuts any other is gonna make me happy. We're all gonna be happy, and now we can go to dinner.
I know, I know. Um, but no, this was great.
It was. I
This
appreciate it.
was, you're really great to talk to. I would love to be back.
I promise I will ask again.
Yeah, we've got a lot more to dive into.
Yeah, there's so much. There's more than anybody realizes, and it's a lot
Yeah,
more fun. Yeah, I appreciate it.
yeah.
On that note, though, I want you to be able to plug whatever you got, so go ahead and throw your stuff out there for everybody.
Thank you guys. My name is Samantha Marie. Um, you can find me on Instagram so my Instagram is my personal name because I just don't want to change it. It's been the same for so long. It's at Sammy and then my last name, SAGLIBENE. And then through that, you can find my TikTok links and my Spotify links. My Spotify artist name is Samantha Marie. I always prefer people to stream me on Spotify, Samantha Marie. And I don't know when this is being aired, but I do have a show in LA on the 31st. All those details are through my Instagram and Spotify. So
Awesome.
there we go.
Samantha, you're amazing. You're beautiful. You're
Oh,
very,
thank you so
very
much.
kind, and I enjoy
Thank
every
you.
bit of the conversation.
Yes, this was great. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right.
Shining, don't get my vibe.